Her grandfather was gone forever, and we were alone, underground, hiding away from the horrible noises above. What was going on up there? Though the odds were terrible, the people fought back, even though some said it was hopeless and much too late. Their weapons were puny compared with their oppressors, but their spirits hadn't been totally crushed. They fought on, but there was no escape in the end. The last of the Red Folk were rounded up and taken away. We heard terrible noises as we squeezed through the sewers. I heard the full story much later. I also heard that there was truth in the old rumors we'd heard of the people beyond the wall, people who could change your color. We found the little girl and she told us her tale. She used to live in the orphanage where Janusz was in charge, and he had stayed right there with the kids as he had promised. When the robots came to take them away, he refused to leave their side. He held their hands as they all stood together. Then the robot guards led them all away. Even though the resistance could have saved Janusz, even though he could have escaped, he kept his promise. And he went along with the children into the flying train. It took off, and none of them were ever seen again. But this little girl, she was the only one who got away. And now she was talking about a couple on the other side of the wall. Somehow she knew that if she could get to them, they would adopt her and perhaps change her color. Then she would be safe. Her eyes brimmed with hopeful tears as she said, maybe they would adopt you too as well. The couple were keen to make my friend part of their lives. I was so glad for her. She would be safe at last in the world beyond the wall. But there was only room for one child. So it was time for the two of us to part. We had come through so much together. She took out the photograph of the two of us, the one that had been taken on the last day before the invasion. She tore it in two, so we'd both have half, to remind us of each other. Then she went away, and I never saw her again. After that, I had many more adventures, of course, but that is all a story for another time, perhaps. And maybe one day, I told the girl in my bookstore, you will hear it, my dear. She was looking at me, thunderstruck. I've heard that story before, she said, about the girl and the boy and the photograph from my grandma. Downstairs, the shop doorbell rang. There was some kind of magic at work, perhaps. Magic that brought her grandmother to my door that very night. We went downstairs, and I saw her waiting. At first, I froze. The girl pushed me closer, and then I recognized my friend. We hugged, and all that time simply dropped away. After all the adventures and the changes that everyone must face, we were the same two kids all over again. That's what I mean when I say life can still surprise us on even very ordinary days. And now my story is done. I dedicate it to anyone who's been forced to part from their loved ones and who has survived long enough to see them again.